Paige from Soulfully Unplugged, and I'm here with.
You got Les with the Lesconect Podcast.
Thank you so much, Les, for joining us today on A Touch of Soul. We get to get to see a little bit of who you are, what you're doing, and a little bit behind the history behind you. So let's start off with what made you start your podcast and doing all your media stuff?
So, I started off as a musician myself, a recording artist. And it kind of always, like, music goes in hand with like the culture, the media. And I always enjoyed being, I guess, more in the back end of it than the person that's on stage. Like, don't get it twisted. I've always loved performing, and writing music and the creation part of it. But I think that my passion was more being a creator versus being the rapper or the singer. And when I stopped be, being an artist, I said, you know what, I'm gonna focus more on the 9 to 5 world. My kids started getting older. Uh, I kind of like left the whole thing. I just needed to get like a mental reset. It all became a lot, and I because I invested so much into it. And believe it or not, I ended up moving away from Syracuse, um, moved to Rochester, got into a career, end up coming back, and then somehow I was like, you know what? God gave me a gift, and I'm never going to be happy in a 9 to 5 world. Like, I've worked various jobs, various different roles, and I just couldn't find that happiness or that validation that I was seeking. Whether it was starting from entry level, working your way up to what some would call like a promoted position. I still never got that feeling, and I'm like, I know that I'm better than that. I know that I have more of a skill set to offer the world. So I got into podcasting, and I actually started, believe it or not, I want to say maybe 7 years ago, I started a podcast called Sunday's Beast.
Okay.
Um, Back when I didn't even know what a podcast really was. It was still pretty
Yeah.
new back then. This is pre-COVID. Um, and it kind of didn't work out because I was renting a spot. Shout out to John Bellavia, Syracuse, New York. I was renting his
Shout out.
location, $200 a month. Yeah, 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 yeah. And I had sponsors who paid for it, but it just, I don't know. Yet again, I was still balancing being in the entertainment world and the working the career. Like, I was a volunteer firefighter at the time, and so much training was being demanded at that time. So I kind of just said, you know what, I'm not going to pay. This is the hard way, right? It's
Yep.
hard to chase your dreams. So I kind
Yes.
of just left it alone, and then it ended up finding me again, and now we're back at it with the Let's Connect podcast.
I love that. I see life. I live by the theory that life is always is full of full circle moments, and when it's always there for you or meant for you, it's gonna call you back one way or another. It's gonna loop you back in. I know from personal experience and hearing others tell me their stories as well. So I love hearing that, and welcome back. I'm happy to have you back in Syracuse at least. But shout out to Rochester. They got you for a while.
Yeah, shout out to 585.
So going on with the Let's Connect podcast, so going on with knowing that like you already had the experience, and so what started this again for you when you're like, no, I'm gonna take this seriously? Was there any tipping point for you, or was it like a joke that you just had going, like, when I have like 100K set in the bank account, that's when like,
Yeah. So honestly, it's the opposite side of the monetary moment, because trust me, I still don't have that 100K. But really, what it was like I said, just working. I'm working. I'm doing all these different roles, and I kind of had a conversation with God or the universe, whatever you guys believe in out there. But I had a conversation with God, and He basically told me, because yet again, I was fighting, wanting to do something positive. The older I got, the more I kind of wanted to run away from negativity, focus on putting more positivity in the universe.
yeah,
And like I said, God and me had a conversation, and He told me, He said, "Listen, I gave you a gift. You're asking why you're not here, or why you're not there, or why you don't have. I gave you a gift that people wish that they had. I have a vision in my head, no matter whether the form of, if it's music, if it's podcast, if it's helping someone shoot a music video. I have these visions in my head. That's the only way that I can explain how I create what I create. So he's given me the tools to be able to be creative enough and articulate enough to be able to do what I love to do. And I kind of was running from it, but God told me, it's like, listen, man, you're never going to be happy until you do what, you fulfill the gift that I given to you. So
Yeah.
I decided to do it. And I also was watching, I don't know if you're familiar with this guy on YouTube. His name's Ian Bick.
Name sounds familiar.
So he has a podcast show. It's called Locked In with Ian Bick.
Okay,
And
yes, yep.
yeah, so the one thing I loved about his story, right? Who doesn't love a good redemption story? So one
Absolutely.
thing I love about his story is he was trying to do the right thing. He got into the entertainment thing, got owned a nightclub when he was a teenager. Kind of
Oh,
was in over
shoot.
his head, but he was doing his
Hmm.
thing in
Right.
the Connecticut area. Then he started throwing shows, kind of like what some of these promoters out here do. You book the guest, whether it's like a Fetty Wap or whoever it may be, the big artist at the time. You book
Hmm.
them. You might get a couple investors to help you secure that, and then when the show sells tickets and all of that stuff, you'll be able to pay your investors back, and then make whatever profit you got. So we kind of got in over his head. End up getting into kind of like a Ponzi scheme, and then got in trouble with the federal government. So he did time, got out, didn't know what he was going to do, went on TikTok, started sharing his jail stories, his prison stories. A lot of people related to his message. But the inspiring part of not just his redemption from, leaving the prison system and going back out there and trying again is this kid literally said that, like, he was living off his credit cards. He started an OnlyFans, believe it or not, and was
Yeah.
door dashing and Ubering just to make his dreams work. Then he started releasing quality interviews, quality, five quality interviews a week until he kept going and going and going, and it picked up traction. Now, yet again, respect to him because he kind of like hit traction, kind of right away. He went viral, with some of his first videos. I have not. That's a little hard, but
Hey, no, I get that. We're all searching for gold, man. I'm gonna be talking about SpongeBob. Everyone loves SpongeBob, man.
uh
Syracuse native, so don't worry, that question's coming.
yeah, but I was inspired by a story, and believe it or not, like, this dude's a real good dude. That's why I'm not afraid or ashamed to tell his story because I
Yeah.
didn't even know the dude. But I messaged him on Instagram, right? I messaged him. I said, you know what? Hey, man, I'm thinking about starting a podcast. Is there any advice that you could give me? And obviously, I love the show and stuff like that. And this dude wrote me back multiple times, giving me solid sound advice. Where I mean, this guy blew up now. He's interviewing
Right.
Max B. He's interviewing Troy Ave, and all these different law enforcement entities, and he's doing his thing. He didn't have to take time out of his day, and like I know how it is, where you put yourself out there and try to network, thinking that you're doing the right thing, but people love to take advantage of what they can and never give the credit back where it deserves, right? Because that's
Yep.
that's
Yep.
all anybody looks for. We don't ask for any much. It's like,
Hmm.
if we're looking out for you, either look out for us or just give the credit where it's due.
Words too. Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, so he messaged me back. He gave me advice. His stories inspirational, and I just sat back and said, you know what? I have a voice. I think that I would be great at storytelling as well. And let's get into it. Let's see what happens, and let me go ahead and put my all into it and see what happens for me.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love your stuff from the moment that we connected. Let's connect, right? The moment that we connected, look through your stuff. I was like, wow, because you hit a lot of parts and points that I admire, and that's like the part of like podcasting that I absolutely love. And I know a lot of people love to look into like the deeper meaning with people on their thoughts and what their story is. And I believe that you're such a great storyteller. At least the clips and stuff that you bring to the internet just for like, hey, like it's coming out now. I'm like, okay, well, why is it not now? Like now I have to wait a few days. So I'm gonna give props where props is, man. You're taking his advice well. So shout out to Ian. Man, you did a good job. I'm very proud of that, man. And you're a Syracuse native as well as SpongeBob. So that goes into my next question. You're around my age, millennial area. Not to give a direct, age, because I'm still 29 everywhere, right? Every year. But we all kind of grew up on SpongeBob, or at least knowing SpongeBob. Is there any like quotes that you catch yourself saying every day, and you're like, SpongeBob, man, it definitely soaked into your brain. That brain rot. That was our brain rot. Was
Yeah.
SpongeBob and shows like that.
No, I don't know about like on a like day to day, but like I do just have so many funny SpongeBob memories, just like Mr. Krabs' high pitched voice. This Christmas feels like a very special Christmas to me.
Yes. Oh, so I love it every time. So, Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob, he has a band called Tom Kenny and the High Seas. He is phenomenal. It's a 12-piece band. You wouldn't expect yourself to be grooving to like the same music that, my mom knew. And she's like, "Oh, this is good." And I was like, "It's SpongeBob." And he gives an encore and he then transforms into a yellow suit and he gives a whole SpongeBob performance. So
Wow.
definitely anytime that he comes back around, definitely it's not a show to miss. It's
Yeah.
wild. It's wild. But that's really cool though that you have those moments, and those are the things that like connect more people than we think. Because someone who's in like the rock community like me, sometimes people are like, "What do you have in common with them?" I'm like, "Yo, we grew up with Nickelodeon, and SpongeBob together, bro. We have all the same stems."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think
you know?
I think we do have a lot more in common though, because we understand the same grind and the same hunger, and so I think that we have to bridge the gap. And for me,
Yeah.
even musically, I kind of always found myself being in between the different genres, because even when I made music,
Yep.
I would always say, or people would always say, is that I had more of a commercial sound, because I kind of always did everything from a business perspective, right? If I make a song, I want to make a song that means something.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think the way for it to do that is to be able to talk to everyone, not just one demographic. That's why I got a song called Warning with Vinnie Freeman.
Yes,
Um,
yes. So that's how I know as well because I know Vinny. Me and I used to go to a lot of Vinny shows. I haven't seen any shows recently that he's performed. So that's also why because Warning I always listened to a lot when it
yeah,
came out. So that's also why. Shout
yeah,
out to
and
Vinny by the way.
yeah, shout out Vinny. And I don't want to brag, but in 2019, I was a Sammy Award winner, Best Hip Hop Award. So,
Yes.
I definitely love, like I said, breaking down that barrier, and giving my all in everything I do, from the music perspective to now into the media perspective. I take the craft serious. I respect the people that's done it before me, the people that's walking alongside me doing it. It's not easy. It's not
Yeah.
easy
No.
for anybody out there that think that it's easy. I'm telling you, it's not easy. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. But the difference between us is we just figure out a way to make it work no matter what. And that's why
Yes.
you should just go and like somebody's page. Even if you're not watching the video, just give it a like, give it a
Yeah.
comment, just keep them going, keep them motivated, because at the end of the day, we're going up against the big machine, doing what we love to do, but also putting the rest of the city on our back and letting them know that if we could do it, then you can do it, and anything is possible.
Absolutely. No, yeah, absolutely. And that's something that I ride very heavy with because there's been a lot of great gems that have come out of Syracuse. There's a band up and rising called Glass Waves. They're based out of Rochester, but a lot of them are locally from Syracuse or around the local area. And that's the thing is I'm so happy that we're getting a little bit more recognition over here up in CNY. Because a lot of, artists that I'm seeing, and they're like, oh, from New York City. I'm like, well, yeah, there's a lot of people that just walk right down the venue. Like, you have 100 million people in that one corner. So I get really excited when I see more and more getting pushed out in our local area, and I'm a big factor in like localism, and like you're not going to be able to do anything if like locally we're not intact. You know what I'm saying? So moving forward, is there any like advice that you would give since you've been giving us advice? Is there any other advice you'd give for like imposter syndrome? Do you deal with imposter syndrome at all? Because I know that I do, and I know several of our viewers do when like they're creating. They're like, all right, I'm kind of proud of this, but I'm absolutely terrified to like let everyone else see. Do you ever deal with that, or what's your advice for anyone who does?
Yeah, so I think more or less when I made music, I kind of dealt with that, just because, especially in the hip hop world and in your area, you kind of gotta like put on a persona and put on a mask that may not be you, but if you want to get those numbers or that recognition, you kind of gotta like follow suit. But in this media world, I think that I have not dealt with it because I'm at the point in my life where like I really don't care about the views or the or because if I did, I would be going after what everybody else is going after. Now, there's obviously certain topics that I'll touch to try to like latch into the algorithm, but I still do it in a me type of way, because I want people to love what I do. You got to be different. Everyone can't be the same. You shouldn't be ashamed to be you, because yet again, there's always going to be an audience for you, and we don't have to have the same audience. We don't have to have, but at the end of the day, as long as you're you, there's always going to be someone that be like, you know what, I can relate to them, or I like what they're talking about. I'm going to follow them. So when it comes to all of that other stuff, man, just be you. I think that's my advice there, is be you. Be passionate about what you do, and remember that whatever you're putting out there, there's somebody on the other end that's watching. So just try to like be pure, genuine, and be the same person behind the camera that you are in front of them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that advice for all of us. I That's a common theme, that it's like you got to be yourself, cuz there everyone has an audience. You might not know that it's right here. It might not be right in front of you, but you see five, 10 likes. Imagine 5, 10 likes in your little, car, or 5, 10 people in your car. That's starting somewheres.
Yeah.
Um, Sorry. So moving on with everything, is there anything with like Syracuse that like do you work with businesses, like small businesses, and trying to get them out and like trying to get traction with them as well? Because I know for me with a local creator, I'm always hitting up every, you know, um, food truck or little shop that opens up, and I'm like, hey y'all, how are we
Yeah.
doing? Need any help?
And that's what I respect about your grind. And kudos to you as well, because there's a lot of people that don't take their craft serious enough to do that. So that's definitely on my to-do list. I just been focusing on trying to execute this vision that I have, because not the imposter thing, but I am kind of like a nitpick of my own work. So
Yep.
because I have a vision in my head and I know that I haven't gotten there yet, because like I said, I didn't start off on $100,000. I didn't start off with a team. I'm doing
Mhm.
everything: the booking, the filming, the editing, popping up to venues, creating the content, the research. How can I make this episode look bigger and better? How can I reach that vision in my head quicker? So I started off with two Google Pixel 10s. Not gonna
Oh
lie.
hell yeah.
And then I just slowly, just now, this next interview that I just did with a amazing artist named Eddie Cito from the Watertown area. It's the first interview that I had with the cameras that I bought. And I even had difficulty with that, but I'm
Ooh.
excited because it's one step closer to me now feeling comfortable enough to go to these businesses, because there are certain businesses, I'm not gonna say who, but there's
Mhm.
certain businesses that I do have on my radar. Not so much that I want to like do it in promoting their business aspect, even though it will promote their business, but I still want to do it in the my format. You know what I mean? I want to know
Absolutely,
how they
yeah.
got into the business. Yeah, how they got into the business. What were they facing? Just like Ian Bick, where they driving Uber and had to start an only, like, this is the stuff that we need to be sharing, because people think that you could just go on get a camera, go viral overnight. No, you got to hear the growing pains that it took for all of us to get to where we're at. It doesn't happen overnight. It you really have to be like insane. Like
Yeah,
literally, you have to be insane to do what we do,
absolutely.
because it takes so much. But are you willing to do it? And
Exactly. No,
yes,
I get that completely, because me, I started my photography business like solely on my own about a year ago, and I started as an iPhone photographer. Straight up, iPhone photographer. But I made enough waves to be able to like, okay, invest a little bit more. You know what I mean? And I tell people all the time, they're like, "Oh, how did you get?" And I'm like, "You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take." Like one of my very first interviews for Soulful, The Touch of Soul, um, sh- I found her on Instagram and just going through, and she is a Australian indie pop artist. And we've actually had a few of her songs hit America like on our radio. And I didn't realize until I went further into her discography. I was like, okay, wow, okay. Hey, I know this is a little ambitious, and she was like, absolutely, get me on. I was freaking out internally, and she like set that bar so high for me that I was so terrified to like. I was like, wow, this is really happening for me because you miss 100% of the shots you don't take because the worst you can get is ignored or no.
Yeah.
And I just tell people all the time, just whatever you have some type of vision with what you have going on. So even if it's a old iPhone, you know that it's not going to be the best, but at least then make the content in there
Yeah.
the best, and to be authentically yourself. And I think that's why we connected so well, is because I saw you authentically being yourself and being able to pull that genuine side out of people. Because speaking of being spiritual and all that, I like to see people in their element and being their like not happiest self, but just like truest self in that
Hmm.
moment. Because I like to say that it's like a hello from the creator, like being like, hey, because we get to see the magic that all of us have. We have different magic, different calibers of it, different gifts. And it's really nice to see that there's another creator locally that also is able to capture that magic, in people
Yeah.
and bring it out. So I I love what you're doing, man. I'm a huge fan. I'm always up in your likes, always being like, ha,
Yeah.
love your shit,
Likewise.
man.
Likewise. For real. Like I said, since day one, I seen your work. I hit you. Like that. That's
Yeah,
how
you
it was.
did. You did.
I
Yeah.
seen your stuff, and I was like, oh nope, let me click there and let's connect. Get
Absolutely,
into it.
Yeah. Hey, it's gonna be our catchphrase by the end of the night. We always get one. Usually mine is frying pan, but long story on that connects to our spooky fam. If you ever get a chance to, if you're ever need something on weird to watch, and when I say weird is mostly my reactions to the movies that we watch and commentary that goes on. I'm the auntie that says, well, that could have been solved with a frying pan, guys. It happens.
Yeah.
But you're always welcome on with us. We kind of just hang out and shoot the shit, share music, and joke around. Putting on things on a lighter note, like, what do you do at the end of the day where you're like, okay, I'm kind of stressed out. I need to step away for a moment. What do you do to fill your cup? Because you're out here filling everyone else's cup, and I know creating, in a sense, is filling your own cup. But what
Mhm.
do you do outside of creating that fills your own cup? Whether it's like, all right, I'm gonna hit, the gym, or I'm going to, go for a walk, clear my head, put on, my favorite song.
Yeah. No, the gym is definitely one of them. I love working out, and I got a teenage son now who thinks he's the man. So
Oh,
yeah, but we I enjoy he pushes me, like to take working out serious. He just got into it. So shout out my son Amaris. I enjoy
shout out to
working out
him,
with
man.
him. But then yeah, my youngest man, my youngest. That's my guy. Yeah, if anybody watches my content on YouTube, you'll see my son. Like if you say something negative, my little 8 year old is on there. He's gonna get you. So I will, yeah, yeah. But that's
I
my
love
dog.
that. That
Yeah.
reminds me of the days of like old Call of Duty where one friend would be playing because they're really good at Call of Duty and they'd give you the
Uh-huh.
headset because you're really good at talking shit at the same time.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, family,
So I
man,
love that.
family.
You have your own. They'll be like, "Don't you dare!"
Hmm.
Uh-uh. That's how my niece is. She'll be up there, be like, "And you said that to who?"
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
love that, and I love that we get to show like the young kids around us that these things are possible. That now more than ever, people feel trapped, like they cannot create, and sometimes it does take a lot of trying to find the balance, and sometimes it's a little bit here, and you slowly grow. Um, what other advice would you give for someone who's just like on that edge? And I know we've talked based on this a lot, but I know a few people who are like, "Can you help me?" And you're like, "I can help you only so far."
Yeah.
What advice would you give for them?
Yeah. So if you really want to, and this is what anything, right? It don't just got to be creation. It's anything out there that's outside of the norm, right? Outside of a traditional 9 to 5, which the only qualification for a 9 to 5 is you got to show up. You got to show up. You got to clock in and then do what they tell you to do. If you
Mm.
want to be something outside of that, then you really got to want it. You got to put yourself in a position where you're able to ask questions, you're able to listen and absorb, but you're also going to do it yourself because like you said, coming up to you, I can ask you for some advice and say, "Hey Paige, can you give me some advice?" But I can't sit there and expect for you to hold my hand and give me time that you already don't have because you're investing that and building what you're building. So you got to go out there and do it. Take a look at Paige. Take a look at me. Say, "Wow, look at their work ethics. They really want it." I'm not prepared to meet anybody down here who's not willing to at least help bring me back up here. So if you don't really want it, then don't do it respectfully. And
Mhm.
that's not being rude. That's not 9 to 5s are a great thing. And it's a great tool for some people. Some people like structure, some people, and for people like that, it's cool. But if you enjoy the chaos, if you want to be great, if you want to create something, if you want to be an athlete, a movie star, whatever it is, you got to ask yourself, am I willing to give it all for this? Because guess what? The person who's also in competition with me, it may not be direct competition, but their dream is the same as yours. They're willing to do anything. So you think that they're going to sit there and allow you to walk in the same room that they're walking into if you're giving 50%, but they gave 110%. They racked up their credit card. They got all this student loan debt because they dropped out of college to chase their dreams. Their car is broken down. Like, no, no. And it's
Yep.
not fair of you to do that to them or to yourself. So if there's something that you want to do, go for it. But you gotta go for it 100%. And I think
Yep.
as long as they do that, man, you'll be successful in whatever it is.
Exactly, and that's why I say all gas, no brakes till the wheels fall off, man.
Mhm.
And that's the one thing I always tell everyone. It's really nice because I get to hear how to phrase it to some people, who are like, "Hey, like, can you help me?" And it's like, I can help if you're willing to like do your part in your end. I can tell you, hokey pokey, turn yourself around. You still don't know what it's all about, I guess.
Yep. Yep.
you know, and that's another thing is in Syracuse, I am excited to see that there's more people popping up and chasing their dreams, and I'm very excited to see with the blending of genres and people coming all together. I'm really excited to see what comes out of it because I see a lot of people are really pushing for, collaborations and all of those things. Like, what do you see happening in the Syracuse scene?
Yeah, man. I touched on it personally with some of the artists because I actually started popping up as you've seen to certain venues to kind of just show love, but also to get, I call it B-roll content, just some short form content, short form interviews. And the unity that I'm seeing did not exist in a way that it did maybe 10 years ago. When I was in the music scene, everyone was segregated. No one was showing love. They weren't taking pictures together. There weren't multiple media people outside. Everyone pretty much showed up with their people, did their performance, and then left. And I think that that's a real disadvantage to growth in the city. We have to unify. We have to collaborate because it's only going to help. But obviously, collaborate with people that's just as serious as you. Obviously, you ain't got to collaborate with people, but give somebody some motivation, give somebody some inspiration. What stay and watch their performance if it's at a small venue. Give them a critique. But I love it, man. I think that we're heading in a space where we never had it before, and I think that's going to unlock us being successful in the industry.
And
It's
that,
going to
yeah.
take one person to blow up, and then they're going to come back and find who's ready and who's serious. That's why I tell people stay dangerous because you could complain and be like, nobody supports me, nobody do this, or you can take that same energy and then focus it on continuing to build and be ready when the moment comes. I'm not killing it with views, and I'm investing way more than I'm getting back. But you know what?
Hmm.
I guarantee you, when my moment comes, I will be ready.
Absolutely, and that's another thing too. It's like the hard work people don't know that gets put into just one viral video or one viral moment. It's like there's 100 million fails before there's one win, and you can't give up even when you feel like you lost 5 times in a row. You got told no 5 times, you know. And I'm very excited too to see how things are, and I'm very excited to connect more with all the artists and especially with you and more creators that do work around you as well. And I'm really excited to see the unity that happens locally, and then we branch out to be, all of New York State, because I am working with a few different people in different hubs of New York to try to kind of connect that unity so there is no kind of like turf war. It's like, nah, we all want New York to do good. We want to kind of be the not only known for the Big Apple, but known for good ass music all around. You
Yeah.
know. So I appreciate your time with me, and I am excited to see everything that you have to create. I'm really excited to see your new podcast coming out and all of the new things that you have coming on. I will be putting all of your sorry, I'm a little cold here from my AC coming on, so here I am shivering. I will be putting all of your socials and channels down here in the description below, guys. Please share my friend here some love. Please put down a orange heart for me in the comments to let me know that you are here for both us, because we are 315 strong. Thank you so
Yes.
much, guys. Stay soulful, stay unplugged, and we'll catch you next time.